Hi, I'm Ashton Curry. I'm going to be walking you through how to set up a pulmonary artery catheter. Your provider is going to be at the bedside, and we need to prepare different things for whenever they get here. So anytime we're handling any sort of line going into the patient, we have to be as clean as possible. So we're going to start with hand sanitizing and putting on some gloves. And anytime we handle this line, we always want to make sure that we're doing this. The doctor is going to want you to grab the procedure cart. You're going to grab this kit here, and this is your sheath introducer kit, and then you're going to grab the swan itself. In order for us to get ready for the provider to insert the swan, we're going to grab this triple lumen transducer, which is also in the bottom drawer of the procedure cart. And we're also going to grab, I just think of this as my cardiac output bolus kit. It's also in the bottom drawer of the procedure cart. Puncture your bag. And I am not good at being ambidextrous, so I'm going to hang this up here. You'll grab your transducer. Here, I'm just going to bring this up, and they do color code it for us, so hard tubing always goes up. We'll put yellow to yellow. Oops, don't drop it on the floor. We'll do red here, hard part up, and blue. All right, so we're going to prime all these. In order to do that, we're going to do a pressure bag here. You'll insert your 500 ml bag into this pressure bag. This piece goes up through here. All right, and then here on the bag it'll tell you if we're going to inflate, we're going to go here to the side, and you're just going to pump this up until we get this little piece in the green. So as you're pumping, you'll see it getting bigger and bigger. So we are in the green. We're going to lift it up in order to hold the air. At this point now, we're going to release our clamp. Each of these, we want to make sure that we're priming them. So in order to do that, you're going to pull your pigtail, and we're going to prime each of these. And we're just going to pull our pigtail. We want to make sure we have all the air out of these. So there's our art line one. We're going to do our PA one. Going to pull our yellow pigtail. And then we're going to grab our blue one. Okay, so now that should be set up. I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to change my gloves since I touched that trash can. And now we're going to start getting the cardiac output bolus going as well. And it attaches to the blue portion here. So let me let this dry. So in order to set that portion up, we are going to grab another 500 ml bag of normal saline, and we're going to grab this piece here. New gloves on. And it's kind of a lengthy process, so if your provider is on their way, it's good to go ahead and start getting this set up for them. That way they're not waiting for you. So we're going to open up our kit. We're going to grab our 500 ml bag of normal saline. This is, gotta pull it apart. It's like licorice. Because you'll need some extra line for it to reach. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clamp this part. You're going to take this piece off, puncture here. You're going to set this up as well. And then you're going to take your blue piece here. And really, we can actually just wait until we get that swan portion, and that'll just be there whenever we're ready. So I'm going to set that to the side. And now you're just going to wait for the doctor and just be ready. And you'll probably have multiple people in here. But then we'll move on to the next step in the next video on what to do when the doctor's at the bedside and how to help them prepare the lines. So whenever we are preparing to insert the pulmonary artery catheter into the patient, the provider is going to want to see different waveforms on the monitor whenever he is inserting. So in order to get to the screen that they're wanting, you're going to hit this button that says wedge. You can get to that by using the arrow buttons, and we're just going to go over one and hit wedge. So this screen needs to be available for the provider so that they know where that pulmonary artery catheter is so that they can determine placement on how far they need to keep going or if they need to come back. If you look at the waveform on this board here, what they're looking at are the changes in our pulmonary artery catheter waveforms to determine whenever we hit that pulmonary artery, when to deflate that balloon. So these are the waveforms you're going to be seeing, so please refer to the SWAN board if you have questions on that. But that's what they're going to be watching for. So now that we have everything set up, we're going to have to connect our pressure cables in order to get our waveforms on our monitors and have that ready whenever the provider comes. So you'll need 3 different pressure cables, and you're also going to need this red view link box because we only have 2 pressure cables here. So we just added that one. We'll just go one at a time. Each line needs one of these. I'm going to have Shannon assist me. So you'll plug these in.
That one arterial?
Yep, this one can be arterial, and we'll just need to make sure that they're labeled correctly on the monitor. And this one can be, which one are you hooking this one up to?
This will be CVP.
CVP. So in order to change these, you will just go here and you can change the label to whatever you want it to. So you could be art line, CVP, and then your pulmonary artery pressures, which is the PAP, which is grayed out. So we may have to activate that by going down here and activating, which we're already up there, so that's why it won't let us do it. So just making sure, so we'll change this one to CVP. Okay. And those are available for you now. We're still going to want that wedge pressure screen whenever they insert the SWAN so that they know the location. So I'm going to have Shannon pretend to be the provider. I'm going to be the nurse, and we're going to walk through how you're going to assist the provider whenever they are inserting a SWAN at the bedside.
So after the provider has inserted the cordage sheath using this kit, they will also need the sterile sheath that comes in that introducer kit, and they'll set that aside. And then a pair of Kelly clamps to kind of try to hold things in place if we need to. The SWAN gans itself is in the bottom drawer of the cart, and that's what you're going to use to insert. So as the assistant, I'm sterile, of course. So I'm going to need to put this sterile sheath on the SWAN so I can maintain sterility while we're floating. Okay. Now the helper does not need to maintain sterility, so she's going to hook up a saline flush to our yellow PA port.
And we'll get new alcohol swabs each time.
And she's going to flush that through for me. Okay. And then hook up another saline flush
with a new alcohol
to the
swab.
white infusion port.
And remember, this is where your fluids and things can go through.
Okay.
See how it's coming out a different area?
And then she's going to hook up to the CVP or the blue port and flush that as well. Okay. Now, as the helper, she's going to inflate the balloon. Now Ashton is going to be so kind as to hook up our pressure line so that we can actually see some waveforms on the monitor so that we know when we're in the appropriate place as we're floating the swan through.
So, your yellow PA line is going to go to the yellow port. Remember, this is where we're getting our pulmonary artery pressure. And this is already primed, so we're just going to disconnect our syringe and place our yellow port here. Okay?
Okay. I should be able to see the waveform on the monitor. So the provider will now start to float the swan.
Did you want me to hook up the CVP too?
No, I don't need it yet. Okay. He's going to have to get this past the cordis a bit before we can inflate that balloon. I'm going to have Ashton inflate the balloon, make sure she doesn't feel any resistance. Okay? And as he floats this in, he's going to be watching the monitor, as are you, for any arrhythmias that you may find. As this goes through the right ventricle, you'll find a bigger, more fluid waveform, and then it will get smaller as we go into the PA. As he feels like he's in the appropriate position, he's going to slide the cap on. And if the provider doesn't, you need to lock this into place just by simply turning. This keeps my swan from pulling out, okay?
And I do want to point out that you're either going to have to hold that balloon or you're going to have to lock it in order to keep the air in the balloon inflated, because if you don't, it's just going to fall right back out and he won't be able to find the correct place. So just do one of the two.
Yep. When the provider's finished floating, the balloon will come down.
Yeah,
the port will again be locked off so that nobody can accidentally inflate the balloon. And we'll begin hooking up the rest of the pressure lines and the cables to our vigilance monitor.
So blue to blue. And blue is our CVP. And then this will hook up to your art line. All right. I also do want to point out that you need to make note of where your swan is located. Remember, the big thick lines are 50 and your thin lines are 10. So this looks like 50, 40, so it would be sitting probably at 40 here. And just make sure you're passing that along in report. Now we need to hook up our blue cardiac output line. So in order to do that, you're going to have this piece here. You're going to take your syringe off of your blue port. You're going to attach this piece here. And then you're going to take your syringe that's in your kit and place it at the end of this device here. Make sure all your connections are tight. I'm going to turn it off to the patient because right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime this line here. So in order to do that, you just have to sit here. Oh, I'm so sorry, Dan. And you just want to make sure that you have all of the air out. Okay, and then we're going to take our blue CVP port here and we're going to attach it to the end right there. We're going to turn it off to the system here, and we should be getting a CVP reading now.